All right, let's talk dark academia. Today, we are stepping through those ivy-covered gates to look at one of the most atmospheric, most obsessive genres out there. We're going to dive deep into the key trends in the standout books that are really defining dark academia for the class of 2025.
I mean, this quote from HarperCollins just nails it, doesn't it? Shadowy corridors, elite education, and poisonous secrets. It's that perfect, irresistible mix of, high-minded intellectual ambition and this really sinister mystery that is the heart of the genre. And what's so cool is that in 2025, dark academia is pushing its own boundaries in some really fascinating ways.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we'll touch on what makes dark academia tick. Then we're jumping into the three huge trends for 2025: magic and monsters, secrets and lies, and of course, romance and rivalry. And at the end, we'll get into the big question: why are we so drawn to all this darkness?
First up, the allure of academia. So what is it that draws us to the ivory tower? Before we get into all the new stuff, we got to look at the foundations, right? What is it about these old, hallowed halls that makes for such compelling and, let's be honest, often really dangerous stories?
So what is dark academia at its core? Well, it's really all about the pursuit of knowledge being pushed to its absolute breaking point. Think elite universities, creepy Gothic boarding schools, those exclusive secret societies. And the characters. Oh, the characters. They're always brilliant, super driven, and almost always morally gray. They're the kind of people who will do whatever it takes to get what they want. It's that crazy mix of super high intellect and really low morality that just creates all that amazing tension.
And you can't talk about dark academia without talking about the titans of the genre. I mean, the whole thing as we know it today was pretty much built on these modern classics. You've got Donna Tartt's The Secret History, which basically wrote the playbook, with those obsessive classic students. And then more recently, R.F. Kuang's Babel just completely reinvigorated everything by weaving in colonialism and magic. Seriously, these are like the required reading if you want to get where the genre is going.
All right, let's get into our first big trend for 2025: magic and monsters. This is where scholarship meets the supernatural. We are seeing so much more high-stakes magic, arcane rituals, and literal monsters just showing up in campus life. The question isn't just, am I going to pass my exams anymore? Now it's, am I going to survive this demon attack?
And just look at the variety we're seeing. It's wild. So on one side, you've got the incandescent. This book brilliantly mixes the totally mundane stuff like departmental politics with these epic battles against actual hungry demons. But then you've got A Mastery of Monsters, which just throws you right into a deadly competition where the main character has to team up with a shapeshifter just to stay alive and find her brother. Two totally different takes. And the range here is it's incredible. It's not all doom and gloom, You've got stuff like Higher Magic, which is described as whimsical, cozy, dark academia. It's got a grad student with anxiety and a talking skull. How cool is that? But then if you want to go to the complete other end of the spectrum, there's The Library at Hellebore. This is a full-on splatterpunk book. We're talking super graphic, super visceral, set in a college in the underworld with a graduation that is, well, let's just say it's gonna be messy.
Okay, moving on to our next big trend: secrets and lies. Because, of course, you don't need magic for dark academia. The classic formula, murder, mysteries, and morally dubious motives, is alive and well. This is really the bedrock of the genre, right? That moment when simple intellectual curiosity just sours into something way, way more dangerous.
And again, look at the contrast here. It's fascinating. You have The Four, which is this super contemporary Gothic thriller. It's set in one of those pressure cooker boarding schools where 4 students make choices that, you guessed it, have devastating consequences. They're calling it utterly brutal. Then you can jump way back in time with The Resurrectionist. This one takes us to 1828 Edinburgh. It's about a broke medical student who gets into the whole body-snatching business and finds this queer romance among all the grave robbing. Just wow.
And the mysteries just keep coming. There's another one, Every Exquisite Thing, where a drama student discovers that some portraits are linked to a string of murders. It sounds like such a great example of that core theme, when ambition turns totally fatal.
And that brings us to our third huge trend: romance and rivalry. This is where ambition and obsession really collide. We're talking about stories where the high stakes of school and the supernatural get all tangled up with the even higher stakes of the heart. And in these books, romance is not a subplot, no way. It's the main event, the catalyst, and it's almost always fueled by some intense rivalry and obsession.
Now we're seeing this play out in a few really cool ways.
So you have On Wings of Blood, which is this massive book talk sensation. It's pure romance fantasy. That's romance plus fantasy, set at a magical school. We're talking a half-A protagonist, an arrogant vampire she's betrothed to. It's a whole enemies to lovers thing. But then you have something like The After Dark, which is a much, much darker queer horror story with a Lovecraftian twist, where an attraction between two students just slowly spirals into this dangerous, all-consuming obsession.
And you know a trend is a big deal when one of the genre's titans jumps in. Yep, R.F. Kuang is entering the fray with Katabasis. It's about an academic rivalry that turns into what's being called 2025's most surprising love story, all while the characters are on a literal descent into hell. I mean, come on, that sounds amazing!
So, we've covered magic and monsters, secrets and lies, romance and rivalry. But what does it all mean? Let's pull back for a second and think about the big picture here. Why do we crave this darkness? What is the enduring appeal of this genre?
So let's wrap up with some key takeaways for 2025. What's super clear is that dark academia is evolving big time. The genre is absolutely embracing more magic, from the cozy stuff all the way to splatterpunk. Those high-stakes thrillers with murder and ancient secrets, still totally central. And genre blending is key. We're seeing it mixed with romance, fantasy, and historical fiction. The actual definition of academia is expanding to these new fantastic places. But at the end of the day, it's those morally great characters and their poisonous secrets that continue to just completely captivate us.
Check out this number, 85%. According to a survey in the novel Higher Magic, that's how many students identify as bad spell writers. And the professor's reaction? He calls it bullshit. This little detail, I think, gets right to the psychological core of why we love this genre. It's imposter syndrome. That overwhelming feeling of inadequacy is at the heart of any academic experience, right? Even in a world with magic, that pressure to be perfect is totally crushing, and that's something we can all relate to.
Which kind of leaves us with this final question to chew on. In a world full of uncertainty, what's the real appeal of dark academia? Think about it. These stories are all set in these places of order and knowledge, but they are filled with absolute chaos and moral ambiguity. So when you pick up one of these books, what are you really looking for? Is it the desire to find some order in all the chaos, or is it the thrill of just embracing it? It's something to think about for sure.